Alaska, the biggest and least densely populated of all the 50 states. It's twice as large as Texas, and each of its 5 regions is larger than most of the lower 48 states. From its snow-covered mountains to its green forested islands to deep blue fjords to its wild rivers, Alaska is a state of incredible natural beauty. And for roughly 4 months out of the year, Alaska is one of the world's great fishing destinations. One of its official state symbols is the king salmon. While there are great opportunities for anglers all the way north to the Arctic Circle and west to the Bering Sea, comfort, convenience, and variety of fish seem to dictate that the largest number of anglers congregate in the southwest and south central regions, easy flying distance from Anchorage. Getting to Alaska is no problem since many airlines serve Anchorage from Seattle and other cities in the lower 48, as well as from Asia and Europe. With its modern terminal, Anchorage Airport is often called the air crossroads of the world. It's easy to connect with scheduled airlines within Alaska, air taxi and charter services, even float planes that fly to the many remote fishing camps. Anchorage itself is a modern city of 250,000 people, with first-class hotels and restaurants, tourist attractions, and outfitters for a wide range of outdoor activities. One of the best hotels in all the Northwest, the Regal Alaskan, is located in Anchorage. The minute you step into the lobby, you know you're in Alaska. Located on Lake Spenard, the Regal Alaskan is just steps away from float plane docks for those flying out to fish camps or making fly-out day trips. Incidentally, there are more small airplanes in Alaska than any other state, for the simple reason that it's often the only way to get where you want to go. Unlike other states, Alaska is not totally crisscrossed by highways. If you're a first-timer in Anchorage, you might want to check in at the Visitor Center right downtown for information on where to go and what to do. Most of the fishing adventures coming up in this video require some flying, but not all of them. For example, there's some great fishing in the Kenai Peninsula south of Anchorage, along with some spectacular scenery. Take the new Seward Highway along the Turn-Again Arm off Cook Inlet, and you'll soon come to Portage Glacier and Portage Lake with its ever-present icebergs. While on the Kenai Peninsula, keep your eyes open. You're likely to see bears, eagles, moose, and lots more wildlife. And it's a good area to stop and wet a line, whether it be in the Russian or Kenai rivers, or smaller streams such as Cheniac Creek. During the summer fishing season, they all team with several varieties of salmon and other game species. Just remember, you need a fishing license, $15 for 3 days, $30 for a 14-day non-resident license. And on some streams, you may find yourself nearly shoulder to shoulder with other anglers. Some call it combat fishing. Often, though, there are fish to be had for just about everyone. Many anglers like to combine some stream fishing with a trip on a charter boat out of Homer or Seldovia in a quest for giant halibut in Cook Inlet and Kachemak Bay. 60 and 70 pounders are common, but these fish can top out at more than 300 pounds, and cranking one of these monsters off the bottom often means a long, exhausting battle.
Sport increases with fish releases. Tell me it's going to be released short.
You're going to retie, right?
Excellently. I'm going to check it to see. Okay, thank you.
One run, good for one. Yeah, one good run, right? 2. Oh, it's 2.
Is this the 4 pound you got now? A new old 4 pound Bob?
The Bob Stokey dual 4 pound. Cool.
Take it.
Then we better stop.
Doormat.
That's right. Doormat. All right.
5-to-1 for you, Bob.
Although the fishing method is different, you can also catch ocean-run king salmon from the same boats. The king, or Chinook, is the largest of the salmon.
Woo!
Ocean raised. Never mated.
Oh! Another 20 plus. Oh, beautiful.
Well, what do you think, Paul?
Nice king.
Incidentally, there are beaches and flats in the area where, at low tide, you're likely to spot huge brown bears and foxes digging clams. The bears are able to open the shells without breaking them.
His friend's right there to pick up what's left over. There's another one. This is the only beach that I've ever seen a bear dig clams on. You see, about 40 years ago, I had a couple of little pet cubs here, and I kept feeding them clams, and they watched me dig them, and pretty quick they figured out how to dig them. And they taught all the rest of the bears, and I figured that was a good deal, because then all the bears are out here digging clams during low tide, and then when I was hunting, I just come by and pick out the big ones. So we taught them how about 40 years ago, and it worked out real good. 4. Whoop, you're gonna yellow in the background. They play,
Could have been seeing bears.
they play a lot.
Oh, they're digging the same.
2 of them digging the same clam, huh? Who got there first?
Up, one chicken down.
Lying just about 100 miles south of the Kenai Peninsula is Kodiak Island, which is accessible by air and ferry from Homer. The salmon fishing here is incredible.
Bullet. Got a petrified your truck is going to come flying back at me here, Bob. No, he's not. No, we'll trace.
He's already starting to get the hook on him.
I know.
It's not taking long and a little bit of fresh water.
Shit.
Obviously, the manner in which you fish Alaska depends on the size of your budget. Driving to a stream and finding your own way is the least costly. Hiring a guide for a day or two increases the cost, as does a flyout trip or two. And the high end involves spending a week at a remote fishing camp. Many of those who can afford the latter take a commercial flight to Iliamna, which has a modern airport, and then head out to remote fishing camps on the lakes and streams of the area. Iliamna Lake, Alaska's largest, is located between Lake Clark National Park and Preserve and the Katmai National Park. Anglers in this region have easy access to the entire Bristol Bay Katmai area. Big Mountain Lodge, located on the Queechak River near the western end of Lake Iliamna, is one of the better camps around. It's frequented by hunters and fishing enthusiasts. At the peak of the summer salmon run, some 40,000 sockeyes pass right by the camp every hour. For the angler, a week here includes 2 flyout trips mixed in with daily boat or float fishing trips. Farther east, just outside the village of Iliamna, is the Rainbow King Lodge with some of the best facilities in the region. Rainbow King's weekly charge of about $4,000 includes daily flyout trips, guides, food, lodging, even tips. Rainbow King operates a fleet of 4 aircraft and 20 jet sleds for river trips, especially on days when the weather gets in the way of flying. Rainbow trout, Arctic char, grayling, and 5 varieties of salmon are available during the fishing season, which runs from the first week in June through the last week in September. However, the various types of salmon are available at different times in the summer. The king or Chinook salmon, probably the strongest of all freshwater fish, are the first to arrive, moving into the rivers in mid-June. They start out a bright silver and gradually turn red as they move to the spawning grounds. Kings can be taken on spinning tackle, but many anglers prefer a 10-weight fly rod with teeny 400 or 500 sinking line and a reel with a good drag and plenty of backing. Rainbow King Lodge owner Tom Robinson joined this group on the Nishigak River.
20th of July. Whoa, look at that fish go, huh? Ripping. These fish they start coming in this river in mid-June, and of course at that time they're just mint bright. We are probably 80 miles upriver. You got him. He's coming up. You got him.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, this.
That's a big fish, huh?
Where do I hold? Can I put?
Yeah, you ready? You know you have to kiss your first king.
I have to.
That's it, like... Whoa! Pretty big fish!
Oh, it's gonna jump. It's gonna jump! It's a slimy thing. I'm not sure I like it. How much does it weigh?
Oh, that's a good 30-pound
Oh,
fish.
it's gonna jump.
All right, now you can
Okay,
put it in the water.
Put it down in the water.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a beauty.
There he goes, huh? Out to spawn.
In late June, sockeye salmon averaging 10 pounds start showing up. This is the gorge on the New Haland River, which connects Lake Clark and Iliamna Lake. In addition to being one of the most beautiful stretches of water in the region, it also produces some of the best sockeye fishing in the world. The difficulty of traversing the gorge causes the fish to back up in incredible numbers. At times, they're so thick, it seems you could walk across the river on their backs. The gorge is reachable by road from the Rainbow King Lodge. The best tackle for the sockeyes is a 6 or 7 weight fly rod with sinking tip line. The guides will provide the fly patterns developed specifically for these fish. When they first arrive, the sockeyes are bright and fresh, but after several weeks in the river, they change from silver to red with a green head, and the males develop a humped back and a grotesque jaw.
Which way are you going to turn, guy? That's a buck. We could probably take it, actually.
Yeah, mine was a buck.
Yeah.
Hold him up.
That's a nice fish.
Mine was a buck also.
Nice fish. About a 10-pound buck. 9, 10-pound buck.
What a strange looking.
Another spectacular spot is Brooks Falls on the mile-long Brooks River in Katmai National Park. It's one of the most photographed attractions in Alaska because of the fishing bears. So many bears show up here during salmon runs that park rangers maintain a constant watch and call off the human fishing whenever the bears show up to catch their dinner. Another variety, the chum salmon, show up in mid-July and are plentiful until mid-August. They arrive in coastal rivers and creeks of bright silver and change to a unique striped spawning coloration. Unlike other varieties, the chum is not generally considered a food fish. In fact, natives often call them dog salmon, a reference to the meat being commonly used as dog food. But they are great fighters and a lot of fun to catch. On this trip to Easter Creek, fly fishing expert Pat Ford and his wife Kay from Miami and Rainbow King owner Tom Robinson cleaned up on the chums. Most of Pat's fly fishing has been in the ocean off Miami and the Florida Keys, and his world fly fishing records for white marlin and cobia have held up for more than 10 years.
Someone's coming in by the tail.
Well, sometimes they have mouths, you know, in their tails.
What is fighting so hard?
I've seen mouths in the back and in the side. Okay. Oh.
End of the hook was going into my fingers.
It's good you didn't take the fly out yet there. Now this is your typical Easter Creek chum. You get a chance taking the fly out now? All right, that's a beauty. Back in towards me now. Good, good. Ooh. Here he is. Here he is. Good looking fish. Oh yeah.
Pink salmon are the smallest of the available salmon species, and they are found mixed in with chums nearly every year, but for some reason, they have full migrations only during even-numbered years. The pinks hit flies readily and are a lot of fun to catch on light tackle.
Laughing. I don't want to sound like cold water in the video. Please don't let me laugh.
A pink salmon at Easter
That's
Creek.
right. Save him.
I think did we keep one for lunch? You did keep one? Well, this would be a good one for lunch. See, look at the sea lice on this one. This one was just coming in the last tide. You see a couple on this side. There's quite a few over here. We just had a high tide early this morning. Pink salmon. Goes.
The pinks also taste great and are often a part of lunch. The guides at Rainbow King and several other lodges provide a delicious hot shore lunch of fresh salmon and all the fixings every day. We should also mention that fishing with the guides at Rainbow King is like spending a week at fishing school. You may arrive having never held a fly rod, but you leave casting like an expert. You may have noticed that most of the anglers in this video look like they're ready for winter. It may be summer, but if you fish Alaska, you have to be prepared for conditions ranging from 30 degrees and rainy to a sunny 70 degrees. That means layering with underwear, flannel, or wool shirts and warm jackets. And since much of your time will be spent wading in 40-degree water, you'll need neoprene waders with thermal underwear, possibly wool pants, and heavy socks underneath. And don't forget the fingerless gloves and the best rain gear you can afford. Back to the salmon fishing, the silver or coho salmon are the last to arrive in mid-August, and they're available through September. Next to the kings, they are the largest salmon, averaging about 15 pounds. Here on the Sweeshack and in other rivers, a 7-weight fly rod with a sinking tip line will provide for plenty of action. You can keep 5 silvers a day, and many lodges will freeze and box your catch for the trip home.
Go. Silver salmon, nice big male.
On a Swiss shack on the Pacific Ocean. Yeah.
And I'm more concerned about
Out in these remote fly-in areas, you're bound to encounter bears. They like salmon as much as you do. You don't have to worry too much as long as you give them the right-of-way and don't crowd them. The guides keep a sharp lookout, and they'll tell you to stop fishing when a bear is spotted. The problem is, if a hungry bear spots a fish being landed, he'll go for it, and that could be dangerous for the angler. If the bears are fishing, just give them plenty of room, and you'll have no problem. Just don't run. Bears will almost automatically give chase, and you can't outrun them. You may also encounter caribou along or in the water. They're no threat. They'll flee if you get too close. If you're spending a week at a lodge, you might as well devote a day to catching some grayling. This is a native Alaskan species similar to a trout, but with a sail-like dorsal fin. They are seldom found now in the lower 48. Grayling frequent pristine streams such as the Kijik River and are dry fly fish throughout the summer season. For the most fun, guides suggest a light 3 or 4 weight fly rod with a 5 or 6X tippet and size 20 flies. A 20-inch grayling is not uncommon here.
It's not camera shy.
There you go. I have to get my foot out.
Oh boy.
Hang on there.
He's gonna flip out any moment. Look at that dorsal though. Gosh darn. Pretty fish.
Some anglers take a break from fishing to do some sightseeing, and many lodges offer special fly-out trips for just that purpose. Many, however, feel that they see plenty of the Alaskan landscape while flying to remote fishing spots. And on many streams, all you have to do is just look up while waiting for a strike. The mountains, the stands of spectacular fireweed, even glaciers are right in front of you. Now we come to what many anglers consider to be the ultimate in Alaskan fishing, big and brawny rainbow trout. The Iliamna Lake area has the best rainbow fishing in all of Alaska, the season starting in early June before the salmon arrive. This is when you can fish them with dry flies. Since rainbows follow spawning salmon to feed on eggs, in July and August the most productive flies are egg patterns. Rainbow King and some other lodges have private leased streams assuring anglers that there will be no crowds and the fish will be big. Rainbows will range between 18 and 25 inches, occasionally reaching 30 inches. A float trip on the Copper River makes for a great day of fighting these real stripping trout.
Right. 28 inches, 27 inches.
The rainbows feed on salmon eggs all summer, and by September they're as fat as footballs. A 6-pound fish in June will easily weigh 9 pounds by September. This is the time to catch trophy rainbows on such streams as the lower Tulare Creek near Lake Iliamna. It's the time when you stand a chance of catching a rainbow of 15 pounds or more.
30, we could cheat and call him 31. By, let's get the full girth here, 16 and a half. Land the things here.
Just get him up in the grass. Jim's gonna need to help here. Somebody is.
Come on down, I can get him in here.
Okay.
Just close up of the fish in here when I'm pulling it up.
Gotcha.
Come on over on this side.
Okay. Nice rainbow. 8 or 9 pounds. Iliamna Lake Run fish. Looks like a steelhead. That's what these fish are, just about. There's a tight shot of that fish.
Oops, can't feel that strike indicator up there, can I?
Yeah, just yard him from here. There we go.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Did it break? Oh, jeez.
Come on, fish.
Be nice to her now.
Come out of the water.
Keep her in the water. Don't squeeze her. Dandy. Well, we were dead drifting some flesh back up in the run there, and this fish whacked the hell out of this flesh fly and took off and jumped once. And from what I saw of the fish, he appears to be between 11 and 13 pounds. Could possibly be close to my personal best rainbow. I don't know. We'll see. Definitely a heavy fish, big girth.
If you're fishing with guides, they'll know all the regulations. If not, you need a copy of Alaska Sport Fishing Regulation Summary. It's usually available at outfitters and tackle stores. The fishing regulations are complicated and may vary from region to region and from stream to stream. Not only do you need to know size and bag limits, you also need to be aware of which streams are designated for fly fishing only, which ones are closed, and what the seasons are. You'll find that most guides advocate catch and release, keeping only enough fish for lunch and dinner, and a few for you to freeze and take home if you desire.
There he goes, huh?
There are many other Alaskan game fish which are often overlooked because of the popularity of salmon and rainbows. The Dolly Varden and Arctic char, which are so closely related it takes a scientist to tell them apart. And northern pike. Alaskan waters teem with them, some 20 pounds or bigger. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to go after all of the available species in one trip, unless you're spending the greater part of the summer in Alaska. That means you need to start planning an Alaskan fishing vacation early. Decide how much you can afford to spend, what fish you want to concentrate on, whether you plan to stay at a lodge. Remember, choice weeks at better-known lodges are snapped up quickly, So you'll need to make reservations well in advance and consult with the operators on what equipment is supplied and what you need to bring. Perhaps the best starting point is to get a copy of the official state guide and vacation planner. It contains a wealth of information, including lots of phone numbers and addresses of lodges, guides, hotels, flying services, just about everything you need to know to plan the fishing adventure of a lifetime. Remember, you don't have to be wealthy to fish Alaska, and as soon as you complete that first trip, you'll probably start saving up for another. Fish Alaska. It's one of the great adventures you'll ever have.
Male sockeye.
Okay. Oh, Jerry can let his go.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Oops.
That's a sockeye release.
Whap. Ah, going away. Get it wet.
And there's the fish. Whoa!
I don't know whether it's on or not.
Just a second, I'll help you.
Whoa.
This program was produced and licensed by International Video Projects Incorporated of Lakeland, Florida. For additional information about this program and other programs we offer, please write International Video Projects, 6700 South Florida Avenue, Suite 28, Lakeland, Florida, 33813-3312, or call toll-free 800-852-0662. Our collection of programs may also be reviewed on our website, www.videoprojects.tv. Thanks for watching.